Using the law of attraction to create life in intentional ways can actually be very simple when we allow it to be. In this video, I'm going to share with you a simple process that I personally use to align with the laws of creation and manifest in effortless ways. And if you're a fan of Neville Goddard, you'll be able to see how these tips follow some of his instructions as it pertains to assuming and persisting in the wish fulfilled. The first step, as you probably already know, is to select what you desire to create and visualize it in all of its detail in your imagination daily. The fun part here is that you can play with the imaginary world and make changes as you begin to fine-tune all of the details. I'll discuss this in greater detail in a few moments, but wanted to point out that knowing what you want to manifest and living from the inside out and telling yourself a new story that's in alignment with your manifestation is the first step. Once I know what it is that I'm creating, I go through a process of rearranging my mind to become a new version of me and align with my creation. This is a daily action that I perform versus the internal creative process that I'm going to talk about coming up. Each of us has a self-image that's created from our experience of life, and sometimes the self-image reflects back to us limitations that we have picked up along the way, especially regarding something new that's being created. If you've been following my channel for any length of time, you know that I talk a lot about releasing limiting beliefs that stand in the way of manifesting the experience you prefer. One way to do that is by consciously selecting things that affirm your vision and/or the power that you hold to create your vision. So if I feel doubt beginning to creep in regarding something that I'm creating, I purposefully shift my thoughts to things that affirm and align with my vision. This might be something as simple as listening to a speaker that I enjoy or watching a video of someone who's already creating the experience that I want to experience. Sometimes I turn to books or meditations that empower me, and other times I go out looking for evidence that supports my new belief. I also make the point to change my self-talk, the inner conversation that I have, to align with the new story that I'm telling myself. The point is to begin to interpret things in the daily experience differently to impress the new manifestation goal on the subconscious mind. Doubt and limitation present the opportunity to change the self and harness the internal power. And sometimes these things appear to us to see if we're ready to move past them. What is suggested to you in your outer experience can be accepted or rejected based on whether you like the suggestion or dislike it. It's as simple as beginning the process of changing the meaning that you're assigning to these things by reinterpreting them. If doubt presents itself, ask yourself if the thought aligns with your vision. If it doesn't, you can gently affirm to yourself that all things are working for your higher good and for your vision, and that the doubt is only appearing to remind you that you do not have limitations, unless you reinforce them. Ask yourself if the thought you're thinking is limiting you and holding you in place, or if it's empowering you and your vision. If it's limiting you, change the story you're telling yourself and the information you're giving your mind to work with. This is to say that disengaging from beliefs that are out of alignment with the manifestation goal and beginning to more actively engage with thoughts that are in alignment is the goal. I've found that doing these things greatly assists in moving past limitation and creating a strong belief in the ability to create what is wanted. This moves us into the next step, which is to create faith in the higher self. To strengthen the belief just mentioned, I move into the image of my higher self by asking, what does my higher self believe regarding this desire? I know that my higher self believes that all desires are achievable, and in fact already experiences the desire I'm having on the spiritual plane. That is why it's being given to me. The higher self does not have the same interpretations regarding life as the physical self. This reminder assists in developing faith in the higher self and the spiritual outcome that's available to experience in physical reality. When I allow my higher self to take the driver's seat, so to speak, in my physical life, I know that I'm in alignment with the laws of creation. This intermingles a bit with the previous point of letting go of any previous existence that you no longer wish to experience by stopping the reinforcement of that existence. It means disengaging from reasons and excuses of why I can't have what I want, or telling the story of my life as I no longer wish to experience it. The belief and faith must be in the spiritual vision, as that is where all creation is born, in order to bring it into the experience of space and time. This means moving away from the evidence of the physical senses and further developing the inner sense of the vision with faith that when we go within, the higher self is there to willingly offer more interpretation of that vision with more detail and more intense feelings. Remember that you are, in essence, a feeling. The spiritual essence has the ability to achieve the desired state that manifests things as so. And the more you connect with this higher part of you, and develop a connection to that feeling state, the faster things will come into existence in your physical reality. I have personally learned to stop over-identifying with the sensory world so that I can begin to identify with the spiritual world of positive imaginary vision. In this way, I connect with my higher self to bring about the desire by developing faith in the vision and the feeling it brings about in me when I think about it in all of its detail. From this space, I can assume that the vision is already fulfilled. The vision, which is spiritual, is separate from the physical. It's already done in the higher mind, and the more we go within to nurture the feeling, the more faith we can begin to develop in the knowing of that. From this space, I know that I only need to open my awareness enough to begin responding to life as though I'm already experiencing this manifestation and recognize the signs that start to show themselves to me that this manifestation is taking form in my physical experience. I consciously open my awareness to look for things that reflect the assumption of my vision and take note of those things when they show up. This reinforces my faith and belief that my manifestation is materializing. Then I begin to love the desire unconditionally. I've learned that if I place conditions on my desires, such as dictating a certain time frame for it to become physical reality, or by outlining a specific way it must show up in my reality, then I'm attempting to control and force this thing to come to me, rather than coming from a place of personal power. Control and force are fear-based responses that come from a place of lack. But when I center my state of being in a place of love for the thing that I'm creating, I do not expect anything in return. I simply love it and the feeling states that consume me when I think about it. I liken this feeling to much the same way that a parent loves a child. A parent may not like some of the behaviors that their child displays, but they never stop loving that child based on those conditions. They carry an unconditional love. As Neville states, you want it, but you condition it. Everyone wants something, but they condition it. They feel they have to lose something or do something to get what they want. They don't. They feel there's a catch. There isn't. They have to think of a logical way of getting something instead of going straight to the end and occupying the state of the wish fulfilled. Don't worry about the how, only the what. But never condition it. Anything is possible beyond your reasonable comprehension. Lastly, as Neville Goddard states, persist in the assumption. That which we assume to be true, that which we feel to be true, becomes true. Again, in the words of Neville, if you will assume your desire and live there as though it were true, no power on earth can stop it from becoming fact. Persistence is the key to making the desire manifest. Essentially, persistence says, this is the only option and I will not take no for an answer. I still take action that moves me into my manifestation goals. However, a change in my assumption, thinking from that assumption, and persistence in that assumption is the driving force that moves those actions and the manifestation to take form in my life. This is a personal journey that anyone can test for themselves starting right now in this moment. Think of a new creation that you would like to manifest in your life and use these steps to bring it into fruition. And if you persist, you will transform your imaginal act into a physical reality.